When you think of World War II, you probably imagine tanks, rifles, and rations, not bacon fat. But for millions of soldiers slogging through mud, rain, and snow, the war was fought as much against the elements as the enemy. A good pair of boots could mean the difference between survival and frostbite, and, yeah, keeping them dry was a daily battle. Long before waterproof sprays and synthetic coatings, troops discovered a remarkably effective way to weatherproof their leather gear using nothing more than kitchen grease, the leftover fat from their mess tins. It was messy, it was smelly, and it was completely improvised, yet it worked so well that even modern survivalists still use the same principle today. This was more than a trick, it was a necessity. When standard-issue boot treatments ran out or, froze solid in the field, soldiers had to improvise fast. The result was one of the most practical, low-tech waterproofing systems ever devised. The fat-sealed boot method born straight out of wartime ingenuity. Leather was the standard material for military boots throughout World War II. It was tough, flexible, and widely available, but it was also porous. Once saturated, it would stretch, rot, and freeze. Soldiers in the European and Pacific fronts alike reported spending days in soaked footwear, their feet constantly pruned and raw. In the winter of 1944, American GIs in the Ardennes forest suffered from trench foot, a crippling condition caused by cold, wet conditions. British soldiers in Italy battled fungus infections that ate through skin, while Japanese troops in Burma walked barefoot after their leather boots disintegrated in tropical rains. Waterproofing pastes were issued, but honestly, there was rarely enough to go around. Many froze solid in winter, or just washed off quickly in tropical heat. So, soldiers turned to the one thing they had in abundance: animal grease from their rations. When food supplies were cooked, soldiers noticed that leftover grease from bacon, beef, or even canned meats congealed into a waxy, oily layer. Someone realized that this same fat could fill the pores of leather and block out moisture. It wasn't elegant, but it was brilliant. Fats like tallow, lard, and bacon grease are made up of long-chain fatty acids that, when cooled, solidify and create a natural sealant. Once rubbed into leather, these fats replaced the natural oils lost to wear and weather, forming a semi-waterproof coating that both conditioned and protected the material. By the middle of the war, this improvised method became an open secret. Troops from multiple armies, US, British, German, and Soviet, were all documented using fat, lard, or grease to treat boots, belts, and even tent seams. The process was straightforward but required some patience. Here's how it was done in the field, step by step, exactly as soldiers practiced it. The boots were first scraped clean of mud, snow, and debris. It wasn't pretty. The smell was strong, and honestly, the boots often looked perpetually greasy. But the effect was undeniable. Soldiers reported their feet staying dry for days, even while marching through slush or rivers. To understand why this crude trick worked, you only need basic chemistry. Leather is essentially animal skin, a porous matrix of fibers that loses natural oils over time. When those oils are replaced with saturated animal fats, they fill the tiny gaps and repel water molecules. Unlike synthetic sprays, which coat the surface, the grease penetrated deep into the material, sealing it from within. It didn't crack in freezing weather like paraffin-based sealants, and it remained flexible. It was also self-healing. Scuffed areas could be easily retreated with more fat. Modern waterproofing creams are built on this same principle. Many still contain tallow or lanolin or wool fat, which are direct descendants of the wartime formula. Veteran reports from both Allied and Axis sides describe how crucial this hack was. American infantrymen in the Battle of the Bulge used bacon grease daily to keep their boots pliable. Meanwhile, German soldiers on the Eastern Front mixed animal fat with lamp soot for a more durable blackened waterproofing paste. The results were transformative. A properly treated pair of boots stayed dry for up to a week, which was critical time in muddy, frozen terrain. Even when submerged briefly, the interior remained dry enough to prevent trench foot. If you're into bushcraft, reenactment, or, just want a reliable old-world waterproofing method, this technique still works better than most synthetic sprays. Here's how to safely recreate it using modern substitutes. Use natural fats like lard, tallow, or coconut oil, since they don't go rancid as quickly. Many modern outdoorsmen and survivalists have rediscovered this exact recipe, calling it WWII grease wax. It's not fancy, but it's honestly bulletproof and entirely sustainable. The soldiers of World War II didn't have laboratories or corporate gear sponsors. They had mud, frost, and, bacon grease, and yet they solved one of the oldest survival problems using nothing more than what they had on hand. Their ingenuity reminds us that technology doesn't always mean progress. Sometimes, the simplest, dirtiest trick in the book can actually outperform the most advanced chemical formula. So next time you lace up your boots for a trek, just remember this: a soldier in 1944 probably kept his feet drier than you, with nothing but yesterday's breakfast. If you love learning forgotten fieldcraft and practical history like this, go ahead and subscribe to Strange History. We bring back the survival genius of the past, the kind that worked when, honestly, failure wasn't an option.